Why would a landlord ever raise rents on the poor tenants, right? And I'm saying poor because I feel like there's a little bit of a victim mentality a lot of times from people looking at the landlord and tenant relationship. Now, as a landlord, I'll be the first to say that I have seen landlords treat tenants terribly. Like there is such a thing as slumlords. And in fact, we bought a memory care facility just last year, and it was horrendous. Like that person probably should never be allowed to own any kind of real estate ever because of how they treated their residents. However, I do want to change the mindset for good real estate investors. At Active Duty Passive Income, at ADPI, our military real estate investing community, we're focused on becoming good, ethical, smart investors who are good landlords that actually make life better for tenants, for residents that want to rent, right? Because sometimes it doesn't always make sense to own, and sometimes you need to rent, and sometimes and it's important for the landlords to be able to provide that for renters. That's the value exchange in the real estate market of America and pretty much anywhere in the world. So I'll give you 4 reasons in this video of why it's important to raise rents in a reasonable way when it's because of the market. And I'll explain in detail these 4 reasons, right? And I'll explain it from the perspective of if you're a renter, and then also from the perspective of a landlord. So sit tight. This shouldn't be too long, but I think it's going to make a lot of sense. It's going to shine a lot of light on the business model, but also just the world and how this stuff works and the mindset. So without further ado, the first big reason is inflation. And inflation is actually split up in 2 parts. So you got to think about inflation from an economic perspective. What inflation really means is that the thing you're trading for other things, like you're trading dollars for things in life, whether it's rent, whether it's you're buying milk, the thing you're trading those objects for or those things is losing value because either more of it's getting printed or people like that currency less. In this case, we've had a lot of dollars be printed in the past few years after the pandemic and during the pandemic. And so inflation is skyrocketed, meaning the value of our dollar relative to things we want to buy with it has gone down. And so what that means is if something has a supply and demand that is making its value stay the same, but the dollar's value is going down, the price of that thing is going to go up because you're going to have to trade more of the dollars for it, right? It's just basic economics. As long as you understand that value isn't the same thing as price, that should make sense, right? Because the value here stays the same or is going up. The value here is going down, so you're going to need more of these for that thing. It's just dollars and things, and you're trading. That's really what a purchase is. Now, the second part about inflation is everything gets more expensive if you're a landlord. So as a landlord, my HVACs are more expensive now than they were 5 years ago. All of my expenses, including my payroll on our 56-unit apartment complex outside of Indianapolis, has gone up thousands of dollars over the past 5.5 years. Every single year, I have to account for that because I also have a $13,000 mortgage I have to pay on that on that apartment complex. And if I cannot make my mortgage payments, it defaults, and then somebody else will take over, potentially the bank, and then those tenants will truly be neglected for a period of time, and who knows if they're ever going to be taken care of. There's actually other apartment complexes in our area where that has happened, and they started getting bed bug infestations. They started having crime and all sorts of issues. So the only way a landlord has the ability to keep a place safe, keep a place healthy, and keep it just a good place to live is if the business of the real estate is running well, right? Because if an HVAC breaks down, I need to have the reserves to go pay a few $1,000s to get that fixed as an emergency fix, especially if it's top of the summer, right? That's just the type of things that you have to think about with inflation. It's not so much that the dollar is losing value. Everything else, because of that, is now getting more expensive. The prices are going up, right? And so our business model, our profit and loss statement, right? All the losses, all the expenses, that has grown significantly. And so we, as owners of this 56-unit apartment complex, have to think about it that way. We have to make sure that the business is healthy. Now, the second thing is quality of tenants. Tenants, this is also a 2-part thing, right? The tenants will want to have the property be a higher quality. So this ties back to the business. If I cannot maintain the property, like the grounds, cut the grass around it, do a little bit of landscaping, if there's a bunch of chip paint in the common areas, not like paint that over and make it look nicer, or just basic things like fix the washers and dryers in any common areas, all that kind of stuff. Or like roof repairs, foundation repairs, door repairs, what have you. Wear and tear happens, especially with older properties. If we're not able to maintain a certain level, then the quality of tenants is going to go down. That's just like, I know we don't like thinking about human beings as like, hey, someone is better than the other. That's not what I'm saying. Not at all. This isn't like a value of the human life thing. We all know that certain people have certain behaviors. Like if you, and not certain people, but just like sometimes people care more about things than others. Some people have the financial wherewithal to care more about things than others. Like I might have a tenant that they break the sink and they're just going to go fix it because they care. They care about the place that they live in. In the Marine Corps, we talked about all the time, whenever we went to the range, whenever we went on any kind of mission, or anytime we did anything, we would always clean everything up after ourselves. We'd always pick everything up because our philosophy was we're going to leave the place better than how we found it when we got there, right? Than how it was when we stepped in. And so not everybody has that type of mindset. Let's just be honest. And so some people are like care more and some people don't care as much. And oftentimes those that care more will want those around them to care more. So this is the second part. You'll want your neighbors to also be high quality people, right? And you'll want to have an environment and a culture that is caring for each other. You can go ask for each other for help. Maybe it's a community. Maybe you guys barbecue on the weekends, whatever. That is the point. And that's why people pay more for certain nice neighborhoods, right? Gated communities, all that kind of stuff. This shouldn't come as a surprise. And so what happens is if you have tenants that stop paying rents simply because they'd rather go party sometimes, or tenants that start literally ruining some of the units. Like I got pictures the other day, like holes in the ceiling, I'm talking, smoke damage, you name it. If you have tenants that do that, then you know that they're not upkeeping the quality of the culture and they're not being good neighbors for the other tenants. So quality of tenants matters. And if you do not raise the rents as the supply and demand shifts, or as the market requires it to go up, then you will actually allow the quality and the culture of the property go down. And this is just purely statistics. I'm not saying everybody, even if you're not able to pay a certain amount, doesn't mean you're a bad person. That's not what I'm saying. And it's not good or bad or somebody's better than another person. It's not that. It's on average, you have the likelihood of having somebody potentially neglect your property more. And I've seen that every single year. And so right now, I'm in the process of evicting a tenant, or actually we just evicted one because they stopped paying for 5 months and they trashed the place. And it cost us $4,000 to $5,000 just to fix their damage that they caused to our unit that they were paying like $700 a month for. They were supposed to only pay $700 a month. So yes, right now, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit from the points I'm making. We're actually raising rents at this apartment complex from about $750 to $900 and $950 because we realized that for the past couple of years we haven't been raising rents at all. We're way behind because some of the property managers we had were not that great. They didn't care about the culture and the quality of tenants and being or work. They weren't paying attention to what was going on in the market and the properties around us, and so we lost sight of maintaining the culture and maintaining the quality of the community. And so now we are raising rents because we need to get everything to that level. And the reason why I know that we're not raising it too much is because we don't have any vacant units. Like people are loving our property, our location, whatever it is, and we constantly have somebody wanting to come in. We're actually turning people away from tours because we have nothing to let them to tour. We're booked up. So we need to evict certain individuals that haven't paid for months to make room for a wonderful tenant that's willing to pay the higher amount that wants to be a good community member. Okay, so reason number 3. Okay, sorry, got a little sidetracked there. Reason number 3 is business plan and commercial loans. Right. So I was talking about a little bit how the expenses go up. Well, there's a business plan we have to also follow, because commercial loans, the term on them is typically it's not like a amortized 30-year fixed kind of thing where the term of the loan is a full 30 years. How these loans work is they pretend that they're 30 years. For example, ours, it looks like it's a 30-year loan. The schedule of payments acts as if it's a 30-year loan, and it's called amortization. It's amortized over 30 years, just like a home loan would be. But they require you to do something after 10 years. And sometimes this is 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. And what that something is a capital event has to happen. You have to either refinance or sell the property. They want to call back that loan at year 10. And so you need to be prepared to refinance, regardless of what the interest rates are, regardless of what the value of your property is. You need to be able to sell it and not be in a loss, or you need to refinance and actually be able to get a new fresh loan and pay off the old one without being in a loss again. Because then what would happen if you're in a loss? Well, your tenants will suffer because you won't be able to be a good landlord with a good property manager, so on and so forth. So it's important to be able to raise the rents that commensurate with what's going on in the market, so that you can be prepared for higher interest rates like right now, or you can be prepared for a necessary sale, because if you're not raising the rents, the value of that property is actually not going to be going up, because the expenses are going to be going up, but your revenue is not going to be going up. And so your profit is going to shrink. And guess what? With commercial properties, the value is basically just based off of the profit. So you better be raising rents in a way that makes sense with the market. Otherwise, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and you're doing a disservice to the tenants that want a good community to live in, because they don't want to have issues just because you weren't able to refinance. That is derelict on you as a landlord if you're not able to think that far ahead. And so that's the responsibility I have on my shoulders. Now, the fourth and final reason, it's expectations of an investor. So my parents and I have invested probably over actually well more than that. Anyways, I'm just doing off the top of my head. Let's just say $750,000 into this property. That was my parents' bid for success for retirement. That was their nest egg. And in fact, they took that out from the 529 accounts of some of my siblings. Because they realized, like, holy cow, I'm the oldest of 7 kids. We have 7 kids. We want to have a decent retirement. And my parents were not in the military, so they don't have a military pension, right? And they want to have some kind of cash coming in instead of like depleting their nest egg every single month. They wanted to have something that's going to pay them every single month, so they can actually go see their kids and their kids, like their grandchildren, so on and so forth. So we invested in this a long time ago. So they have certain expectations of at least having that. They didn't put that $750,000 away to just, I don't know what you want, what anybody might think, but they didn't put that away just for fun. Right? They put it away because they wanted to have a better life for themselves as well. And so investors have an expectation too. They want to be able to make a return because they want to be rewarded for doing what's best for the tenants. They want that value exchange needs to happen. So I make no bones about it. We make money from real estate. My family makes money from real estate. My partners make money from real estate. I make money from real estate. It helped me transition out of the Marine Corps into entrepreneurship and real estate investing full time. I make money from real estate. I also lose money from real estate. I have another property that I'm about to lose about $1.2 million on because I took the risk. I have that responsibility, not the tenant. So that's the risk I took on. And so I have to be smart about things. I have to operate the property based on what's going on in the market, and I have to think ahead. So those are the 4 reasons. Hopefully that was helpful. This isn't really, I had a couple of questions in the community, and they were asking like, why would you raise rents? And I'm not trying to like direct this at you as like I'm retorting to you. This really was truly meant to be an educational video. This is more for the entire community. This is more of a mindset video. This is more so that everybody understands how important it is to have good landlords in America, truly. And we believe at Active Duty Passive Income that military members that learn how to do this from each other, they learn from each other's mistakes. They learn from each other's successes. They're in a fantastic position to be amazing landlords for America. So they can basically serve the American population, even maybe after they take the uniform off, right? So, but like I said in point 4, yes, it's about service. Yes, it's about being a good landlord, but it's also to live our legacy and to live a better life and to make more income. That's what ADPI is about too. So anyways, if you're interested, like and subscribe. If you like what I'm talking about, please share this with your family and friends. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.